Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags and a new format. Or, more honestly, a really old format. This is my first impressions of the Swedish premium Saab 105 OE. The Saab 105 is a two-seat side-by-side configuration training, recon and light attack aircraft. It entered service in the late 1960s, 1967 to be exact, and was flown by both the Swedish Air Force and the Austrian Air Force. In War Thunder it serves as a rank 5 premium aircraft in the Swedish tree with a battle rating of 8.3 in both realistic and simulator battles. Level flight speed is listed at 947 km per hour, 588 miles per hour at between sea level and 3,200 feet, or roughly 1 kilometer. Level flight speed clean is closer to 970 km an hour or 600 miles per hour. Listed rudder turn time is 26 seconds, which is pretty tight as you would expect for a light attack aircraft. Sustained average rate of climb is 46 meters per second. Armament-wise, the 105 has a few choice selections, with the most important ones being in the multi-purpose group. The twin RB-24 infrared guided missiles are almost a must-have in any environment where you could have hostile aircraft in the area, and they can be a lot of fun, as you will see. That leaves the choice between the twin 30mm cannon pods and the RB-05A guided missiles, which I'm carrying in this flight. The ground target loadouts are interesting, but are designed around clustered rocket attacks. These will probably be good in tank battles, but I'm yet to test them myself, first impressions and all. Alright, so let's get on to the flight breakdown. So, the background footage was taken from my first flight in the 105, and it's of course in SimEC in VR, though I have taken it out into regular RB for testing as well since. As I mentioned before, the ground attack loadout's rocket focus and lack of bombs is less than ideal for SimEC and Air RB environments, but at least in Sim it has something else going for it. Those two RB-24s are ideal for taking down those pesky mouse-aiming IL jet bombers. Don't you just love to see it? The best part about this, of course, is that the main weakness of the RB-24 and most early IR missiles in War Thunder is sharp defensive maneuvers. But because, as a general rule, most War Thunder sim bomber pilots' only defensive maneuver is to waggle their mouse across the screen in gunner mode, due to having little to no experience on how to actually defensively fly an aircraft correctly, there is absolutely nothing they can do to stop this, and it's beautiful. Do be aware, however, while you can get lucky, at this battle rating range, the actual fighters are both faster than you and more maneuverable, so reliable missile shots tend to only work against the unawares. Now for the guided air-ground missiles. These are a little bit more challenging. I don't actually have a lot of experience with these, I'll admit, which is why I wanted to take them out on this flight. For testing. The RB-05A is a radio-controlled MCLOS or Missile Command to Line of Sight air-ground missile. In short, the missile is launched and guided by radio from the cockpit with a joystick to the target using the Mark I eyeball as the primary tracking system. The RB-05 missiles are actually developed first for the Viggen before being rolled into other platforms in the early 1970s. The in-game maximum firing range is listed at 8 km, which is slightly shorter than the 9 km of the real thing, but it's close enough for government work. The missile is very hard to track at max ranges anyway. Even with the view zoomed in, judging accurate range to target and keeping the missile on path is difficult, though not impossible to learn. I just need a lot more practice. The main reason for taking these, however, is that in real life the Swedes quickly worked out that while the RB-05A was intended for hitting ground targets, it also could be comfortably guided in flight against slow or non-maneuvering targets, such as hostile helicopters, hostile cargo aircraft, or hostile non-maneuvering jet bombers with pilots sitting in the gunnery positions. I'm not apologising for this. I'll personally be needing more practice with these, but I can absolutely see this working just fine. And speaking of things being just fine, it's another Russian jet bomber coming in for landing. And we have a missile left. I wonder what we're going to do here. Now, it is an odd circumstance where you actually need to do a rollover in order to bleed speed and not overshoot your target while flying the 105, but still it does happen from time to time, particularly in circumstances like this. That being said, I did sort of jinx myself on this one. As I was doing the rollover, I accidentally armed the Seeker warheads without realising it, and then disarmed them during the dive through to target. Since infrared missiles in War Thunder have a warm-up time on selection, I wound up missing the opportunity to get one off the rail here, so instead we did a bit of a structure check. No damage to aircraft, and still flying without a problem. Unfortunately, the same can be said for the IL-28. I guess this is what happens when Swedish metal meets Russian stellinium. God, I want to play some Sabaton right now. Anyways, no matter, a second pass is fine, and... oh, he's on the ground. Well, it is a ground attacker. And that that's a kill. Well, that guy must have been really pissed. Anyways, with all ordnance expended, it's time to return home in the most cinematic way possible, and have a little bit of a discussion about the aircraft. But before that, just a little side note, this video really shows how old War Thunder is. I mean, the aircraft 3D model and texture work in the 105 is fantastic, but the mountains in the background, I mean, I haven't seen the poly count this low since Lara Croft's tits in the 90s. I mean, at least the texture work is better, but come on, Gaijin, new maps and map overhauls, please. Anyways, as we chase the river, let's go over my impressions. The Saab 105 OE Premium comes in at a little over 8,500 gold, its primary focus is ground attack and it's 8.3, so it can find itself in battles with both missile-armed supersonics and other dangerous fast movers, so for my impressions I'm going to take it game mode by game mode. For Sim it's an absolute recommendation. It's a load of fun to fly and I'm sure I've demonstrated exactly what you can do with it. It is vulnerable to other fighters, but in Sim it's always easier to disengage than in the other game modes, and when you need to hit ground targets you are capable. While I haven't tested it in ground RB yet, for those looking for a premium pounder to support your tank lineup, I would also recommend it. The O5As, if correctly used, will be lethal on player tanks, and the lack of air markers makes disengaging and sneaky pop-up attacks again a possibility. The hard sell for me is air RB. While in good hands the 105 could ruin face, it will rely on the enemy lacking a little in the situational awareness department. The big red marker on your plane is probably going to announce your intentions to both fighters hunting for easy kills, and to bombers looking to avoid missile-armed attackers of your intentions well in advance of you reaching firing range. I mean, it's not an impossibility to do well in air RB in this aircraft, but considering the battle ratings, the J29D is probably a better option if you're looking for a premium in this BR range. For those curious of my opinions of the 105 in the arcade game modes, with good twitch skills you can perform well in arcade with a weaponized washing machine, so it doesn't really matter. Get it if you think it looks cool. So, landing in Sim. Only thing to note here is that if you don't go to full flaps and drop below 300 kilometers an hour, the 105 has the glide slope of the space shuttle. Compared to other War Thunder aircraft, it actually caught me slightly off guard. Though once I applied power and caught it, everything was fine, though I am grateful that you can't collide with aircraft on the runway. Well anyways, ladies and gents, that's about it. Actually, I think I may have compressed this one down a little bit too much. My target for these videos was 8 to 10 minutes, and I seem to have outdone myself. Alright, so how about another bomber kill? See, I know what you guys like. Anyways, I know everyone does this and it's probably annoying, but if you like the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and also hit that little bell notification as well. I've let the channel slide over the last few months, but I would like to bring it back, but I can only be done with your help. Also, leave a comment down below on what you think of the return of this style of video, and what aircraft, premium or not, that you would like to see me cover next. I'm going to cover some of the new birds released this patch over the next few weeks, so don't worry too much about those. I just have to unlock them all first. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. Have a great day. Now bugger off.